Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Terry, and this is the Yarnjoy podcast, episode number 12. Today I have some finished objects, some works in progress. I also have a few upcoming projects I was going to talk about, and I have a couple of shout outs. Thanks so much for subscribing to my channel and for those that have come back to see what I've been doing since last week, and welcome to new viewers that have just found me. Please subscribe if you like my videos and see what progress I make from one week to the next when I make my videos. Okay, so let's begin. For my finished objects, I have, I'm still working on the Princess Amigurumi set, and I finished Mulan this week. And here she is. I thought the colors turned out pretty well. I did the hair in these strips, and then you sew the strips onto the head, which I think turned out well. Still practicing on my facial features, so I think I'm getting a little better. So that makes 4 of my princesses that I've done. So we have Mulan, and then we have Belle that I did last week and showed. And then we have Snow White, which was my first one that I did, and Cinderella in her ball gown. So I'm enjoying working on those. My next finished object is something that I did for my daughter-in-law. Last week I believe I told you that she is a 3rd grade teacher, and so she's been working on getting her schoolroom ready for this upcoming year. And so I found this cute pencil holder that a pattern, and I thought it was so cute I thought I'd make it for her so she'd have it in her classroom. So here it is. Looks like a big fat stubby pencil. Thought it turned out really well. Thought the colors that I picked out, it was just scraps that I had already. Red Heart Super Saver, I believe most of it was. And has a zipper on it, so you unzip it, you flip back the top, and it holds pencils. So the top part I did, it was a cone, and then I pressed the cone flat to get a wedge shape, kind of like a pizza slice shape, and I traced that onto paper. Let me get it put together here. I traced it and I put it on paper, and then I made so I made my template that way, and I traced it like it was like a wedge when I fold it flat, and so then you do it. I did like 4 around, and I made a circle out of that, and then I cut out one of the wedges, and then when you fold that, it makes the cone shape. And so I did that, and then I trimmed it a little bit smaller than what I had measured out so it would fit inside the cone, and then made sure that fit, and then I used that as my template. The paper, I traced it onto cardstock paper to make it a little bit stiffer, and so then I put that in there, and then I had this white zipper that I used, and I hot glued it to the bottom and then to the top, so then it would close. So that one's finished, so I'll be giving it to her so then she could use it in her classroom. Okay, and my next finished objects are a couple of Preemie hats that I made. This is for a donation drive, I guess you'd say, for a local hospital here for the babies that are in the NICU in the hospital, the preemies, for them to have for Halloween to give to the parents. I mean, to have, you know, they have their picture taken with the little Halloween hats. And so last week I showed you that I had made a hippo hat. It's in the back there. I don't know if you can see him, but anyway, so this week I made this owl hat. Thought this turned out really cute. Fun to make. And then I also made a raccoon hat. And both of these patterns, Both of these patterns are from Sarah Zimmerman, which is Repeat Crafter Me. And she's got lots of cute patterns. So both of those are from her site. There's links to them from Ravelry also, and I will, as always, I'll have all the pattern links in the description box below this video. Okay, so those are all the finished objects I got done this week. Okay, so for my works in progress, I am still working on the Moroccan window blanket. I know I've been showing this for weeks now, so I actually got 3 squares done this week. It's getting very large now. I don't know if I can hold it up and be sitting down. Oh, I'm showing you the back side, sorry. There you go. So this blanket, I had stitched 5 across, if you've been watching my previous videos. And so what I've decided to do, and I had thought about taking the 5th one off because I was thinking it was going to be too wide. I thought about taking the 5th one off and then attaching it in another area because it's join as you go, and then making it a 4x4 square blanket. But my dear friend Danny, and her channel is Danny S, she suggested to leave the 5 so I wouldn't have to take it off, and then do 4 across, so then it would end up being a 5x4, which would be a rectangular blanket. And so as you can see, I skipped down so I could get the 4 across here, so then I could see the size. And so I believe the 4x5 is going to be really good. It's, I mean, a good size to have for somebody to be able to cover up with. I mean, not all the way up, but you know, cover their lap and pretty high on their chest. So I'm going to leave it as at that and just continue on and make it a 4x5 square blanket. So I'm going to be working on that this next week. I know I've been showing that for several weeks now because I've had other projects I was working on, like my Donkey Kong. As you can see him there, he hasn't gone home yet to his where he's going to be living. So I decided to put him there in the background so then you could enjoy seeing him. He could join our episode today. And then, oh, and this blanket, by the way, that I have on this chair, it is a corner-to-corner blanket that I made for my younger son, Mario themed, and Super Mario actually, but it was a bunch of perler bead charts, graphs that I found on Pinterest, and I found them where they were all the same, I think like 32 squares by 32 squares, all the same size. And so I did the corner process in making them, and I did each of the squares, and then with the same background color, and then when I stitched the squares together, since the background color is all the same, it looks like it's a big solid piece. I mean, it turned into a big solid piece. So that's what that is. Yeah, I know a few people were commenting on it and asking about it. It's usually with my son in his room, but I decided to lay it out here. I'll change up my background just a little bit, so that's what that is there. So anyway, okay, so my next work in progress, let's see, is I'm still working or finishing up the Groovy Gan cowl that I've been working on for the past few weeks. I finished the last 2 squares, and I've already started putting them together. The squares are only, well, they were supposed to be 4.5 inches, but I blocked each square, and just with my gauge, they only turned out to be about 4 inches across, or 4 inches square, and so it's very small. It was smaller than I was thinking it was going to be. As you can see, I'm crocheting the squares together, and so I'm working on it. Not quite got that done yet, and then I'll do a border. I like the way it's very colorful. All the squares together is very colorful, but it's very small. So, of course, once I do the border, then of course it will enlarge a little bit. But I'm gonna think about this for a little bit, and I may add extra rounds to the border, or do something else with it to make it larger, or maybe it'll just be a wall hanging. Or it could be actually, because it's called a mini baby blanket, so it could be like a car seat blanket, or you know, something that you don't want a very large size for the baby. So anyway, that one is coming along. I'm finishing up on it pretty soon. And then one I just started today is a wreath, because I remember I told you that I had ordered these styrofoam rings. And so I wanted to do a fall wreath since we're starting to go into fall. And I found this pattern on Ravelry, and it is also by Sarah Zimmerman, Repeat Crafter Me. And I found this fall wreath I thought was really cute. It's got kind of the, well, hers, if you can see, hers has got a little blue stripe that's running through there, and since I thought it looked so much like candy corn, I'm going to, instead of having the blue stripe, I'm going to put a white stripe there. And so I've started that. I like the little pumpkins down the bottom and the leaves. I think this is going to be really, turned out really cute. The pattern actually called for a 16-inch wreath, and the ring that I have is a 12-inch, and so I'm altering this number of rows per stripe. So then that way I'll have, you know, it's going to be smaller around circumference. But anyway, this is what I've done so far. It's just Red Heart Super Saver in the coffee color, I believe. And then my sister-in-law picked up a lot of yarn at, I believe, a yard sale or something. And she gave them to me. And whoever it was, they either really liked orange or they were just buying it because it was on sale or clearance. But I got lots of skeins. I don't know, maybe 12 to 15 skeins of this orange yarn, and so see, I already caked it up. The way the yarn skein was shaped, I think maybe it might have been, it wasn't Super Saver, because you know, you can kind of recognize the long, like this is Super Saver, it's a long skein. I'm not sure what it was. The labels were gone. They were kind of short, fat skeins, so I'm not sure exactly what brand it was, but it seems to be a little bit thinner than the Super Saver. It might be with like a thin number 4. So what I am doing, since I have so much of the orange, I am doubling it in this project. And then, of course, I have my yellow. This is a bright yellow, I believe, Super Saver, and then a white. Actually, it's a kind of an off-white. It's not bright white. So we'll see. I'll either use this or my Super Saver bright white. I'm not sure yet. So that's what I just started today. I'm using an eye hook. I tried out different hooks to see, you know, and I kept trying to make sure it would wrap around the wreath, because I didn't know, since this was a different size wreath, I didn't know if the circumference of the ring is smaller than the 16-inch. I'm kind of thinking maybe it's the same, but with my gauge and everything, I had to go up to an eye hook, and I believe that she uses an H in her pattern. Okay, so I'm working on that, and that's my works in progress. Another one that I guess you'd say would qualify for works in progress, because I've got the yarn picked out, but I haven't started it yet, is another one of the princesses. And this week, I believe I'm going to start working on Belle from Beauty and the Beast, I believe. So that will be my also one that I'm working on this week. Okay, so I have upcoming projects coming along. Since it is going into the fall, and I have so much orange yarn, I found this pattern by, I believe it's Heidi Yates, and it is a large, it's called a jumbo pumpkin centerpiece, I think. Anyway, it's what it is a large, like an accordion shaped type design pumpkin, and I believe there is a tutorial where she shows how she makes that, but I thought that would look so cute on a table. So I'm going to use that, and probably, I think she used she used a bulky yarn and like an end hook, very jumbo, for the jumbo size. But I have so much of this yarn, I think I'll just use it either maybe tripled, like 3 strands of it together maybe, or more. I have to kind of experiment with it, but I do want to start that pretty soon, since it is a fall type project for you can put on your table or whatever. So that one is upcoming. When I finish one of these others, this Groovy Gan, I'll either finish that up or let it take a little break, just a little bit, to see if I decide if I want to make it how I want to enlarge it. So we'll see about that. I also need to pin down some Christmas gifts for some of the adults in our family. Some of the men and different ones that I want to work on, and decide what I want to make for them to start working on it. And I'm also, of course, going to do more of the Preemie hats. I've got some really cute ones in my Ravelry queue that I want to put together, and so I'm going to be working on that, getting a few of those more done. And that's about it as far as my work, projects and things. I do have a couple of shout outs. I have discovered a podcast that I've been binge watching while I was, or a vlog, I guess, but binge watching while I was working on some of these projects. And it is Claudia, and her channel name is just Claudia, but it's Crochet Luna. And she is a crocheter. She's from San Diego, California, I believe. And she makes videos like every 2 weeks. And she makes really pretty shawls. And she uses some really nice yarn. And I know some of the projects that she makes, some of the shawls that she's been making, I want to look into making them also, because I have never actually crocheted a shawl, I don't think. So I really enjoy her podcast, though. So she's one that I encourage you to check out if you haven't watched her videos already. And then I have another shout out. It's a girl, I'm not sure what her name is, but her channel name is Studio Crafty, and she makes the amigurumi characters, and her specialty mainly is like the Pokemon characters and maybe some gaming characters, I'm not sure. Either that or the Japanese cartoon characters, I'm not sure. But I have made, I made a Pokemon character. In fact, I made 2 Pokemon characters from using her tutorials on YouTube. And she's got very good tutorials, very easy to follow, whether you're a beginner or you've been crocheting for a while. And she just recently came out with a really cute amigurumi that she did of a horse that I thought was really cute. I'm sure I'll be making that in the future. But if you need to do projects, if you have a child or know of one that likes the Pokemon characters, she's got some really cute tutorials to crochet them. So check her out at Studio Crafty on YouTube. I'll put links to all these in my description box. And I believe that's it. We started our homeschool this week, and that's going well. My son also started music lessons, and he's enjoying that. And just plugging along on my patterns, my projects that I've done, and that's about it that we've really been doing here lately. So please come back next week and see how much of this I got finished and what I start in addition to these projects. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope y'all have a great week. Bye.